Hello, my name is Andrew. I wanted to share some information on where to buy the cheapest tickets. I received this question countless of times. I make a lot of videos about the Washington Commanders tickets and where to buy them and where to park and everything. And so I kind of wanted to share my experience on where I go to buy tickets. I've saved hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, over the past couple of years just buying tickets from these three sites that I recommend. Okay, so I'm gonna hop right into the video. My first recommendation is TickPick. They are a more recent company, have not been around as long as StubHub or Ticketmaster, but they are very reliable. I first started seeing them after doing a lot of research on who had the cheapest tickets. I went through, I'd say, at least 100 sites and found that a lot of them were just very similar, added on a lot of fees that were just outrageous. Ticketmaster, Vivid Seats, Cheap Tickets, they all will add on crazy fees at the end of it. And TickPick stood out because they marketed around the idea of no fees. And so they included taxes and fees in their prices. And they were also cheap. They were very comparable to Ticketmaster and Cheap Tickets. So essentially you were paying for Ticketmaster's tickets with no fees. So it was definitely a very good money saver for sure. The app is very easy to use. The website also is very beneficial, and they do offer promotions. Right now, the biggest one that I used when I first signed up was 10 off 50, and it brings down your tickets to an even lower amount of money. I have no idea how the company is profitable because they're just so cheap, but they do give their sellers a fair cut, which I have tried selling tickets on them. So they're a very reliable company, good customer service as well, and I never had any issues with them whatsoever. They do come in handy, especially for NFL tickets. I've gotten second row tickets to Washington Commanders games, which already kind of sucks, but I've gotten them for as low as about $45, $70 at most. I went to pretty much the entire season of games back in 2019, and I saved hundreds. I'd say I went to all of the games, actually more about, I think it was about 8 I went to, and I paid about maybe 300 or 400 at most. So definitely buying them on the reseller market is very beneficial, and TickPick is one of my favorite personally. Okay, my next recommendation is more common. StubHub is a very great resource. They used to tack on a lot of fees, and I do believe that they lowered them down significantly over the past few years. And the biggest addition to it is they now offer a filter button that says show prices with fees. So you can kind of get an idea as to how much you'll pay at checkout, and typically the price you see that they quote you with estimated fees is actually very comparable to what you'll see at the end. They do add on taxes at the end, but it's very minimal, obviously, as with most sales tax. StubHub, the biggest benefit for them, they're a well-trusted brand. They have big partnerships with companies, with the Commanders as well, and I've seen a lot of positive reviews over the past years about them. Personally, they have an easy-to-use website, and it's very user-friendly. And also, I do notice that they do tend to have decent customer service, but I also will say that their seller market is very good. I've sold many tickets on StubHub.com and they quickly go. So I recommend StubHub. Not as good per se as compared to TickPick. I think TickPick does have a cheaper selection, but StubHub does tend to sometimes offer a more heavy variety of tickets. I do notice also that they are a little cheaper when it comes to MLB tickets. But as far as NFL games go, I would say that TickPick does come in first place. Both are very comparable in terms of the overall results. I mean, you get your ticket and it's pretty straightforward. I will say one thing though, that StubHub does tend to have better parking passes. They do offer a bigger variety, and they also separate their parking passes from the regular tickets as well. I've gotten parking passes from StubHub for about normal pricing, I'd say, face value, typically whatever event I go to. So I would say StubHub is a very close second place, very beneficial, and the ability to see your fees and taxes estimated is really good. Lastly, I want to go to my final option that I recommend, which is called Mega Seats. They are a recent brand. I haven't heard about them until about 1 or 2 years ago. I started using them whenever I went to Commanders games and also Wizards games in DC. And they do tend to have a very different approach to it. They include taxes and fees in their pricing. However, they might be a little bit above face value. That's why you mostly want to buy tickets from them with a discounted code. They offer discount codes from 10 to 20%. And after you apply those, you pretty much end up with a cheaper ticket than other marketplaces. They do sometimes have higher price tickets. It really depends on the event you go to. But you can save, I'd say, about $10 to $20 per ticket if you're buying them under $100, I'd say, just by going with Mega Seats. You do want to make sure that you either use the app, which is automatically discounted with the code, or when you're online, use a code. That is a very hard point to stress because without the code, you're not saving that much money. But Mega Seats is a newer company. I haven't really had any issues with them at all, so I haven't really had to contact the customer service, but they give a lot of FAQs. Their site is a little bit boring. Their app is a little bit boring too, but they both are easy to use. Not as easy to use as StubHub or TickPick, but they are easy to use nonetheless. Also, you will note that typically, as far as parking passes go, you probably won't find any. That's the only downside to it. But they are a good company, and I rank them third as far as the best overall price. Experience-wise, I think you can find maybe a better experience with another company like Vivid Seats or Cheap Tickets or Ticketmaster. But I do believe that as far as pricing goes, which is the most important thing in my opinion, as far as they are authentic, Mega Seats is a far much better solution than, say, Ticketmaster. I think Mega Seats is really good for NFL and also NBA tickets. MLB, not so much. I typically go for StubHub for my MLB tickets, but they are a very good option. Once again, make sure you use a promo code. You can find them on their website all the time.